So welcome and thank you for joining our candidate forum for Oroville City Council. My name is Linda McMichael and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Butte County. The League recently celebrated its 100th anniversary, and while the League does not endorse political parties or candidates, we passionately believe in having candidate forums and think that they are essential to the democratic process and engaging all of you out there who are the voters, because that's why we're here. As the League of Women Voters of Butte County, we appreciate any and all opportunities to serve our South County residents. We are especially happy to be here tonight to reach out and assist Oroville. Oroville, we know you've been through a lot and then some, and we want you to know that you are Butte County's county seat and the city of gold, and we appreciate you. So here's just a little thank you for everything. We have 7 candidates, unfortunately only 5 of them are here tonight, vying for 3 seats on the county, on the Oroville City Council. We also thank our audience. Unfortunately, we can't see you, but we know you're out there. We thank you for joining us. And we certainly thank our candidates for running for office. It is an enormous commitment of time and energy and finances. Also, our final word is that we thank the candidates in advance for treating one another with respect and courtesy, even when you disagree with one another. So I think we'll get started. I already mentioned this to the candidates, but the opening statement will be 2 minutes and the closing statement will be 2 minutes. And we have 5 questions. Everybody has 1 minute to answer. We did randomly draw the order of the first questions, and the first, well, actually, we randomly drew the order of the opening, excuse me. And Mr. Berry, you are number 1 for your opening statement.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I'm always number 1. Hi. Jack Berry, longtime resident of the city of Oroville. Raised a family here, went to school here, and always came back when I had a military service and college. I previously served on the council for a number of years, and would very much like to be on the council once again to get things moving again. It seems like it's kind of stagnated the last 2 years, and really like to get things moving. There's a lot of things that we haven't accomplished in the past, and those are things that I'd like to see accomplished in the future, the near future. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Goodson, you are next. I think you might be on mute. Ms. Goodson, can't hear you. Ms. Goodson, we're not able to hear you. Ms. Goodson, can you unmute?
It wasn't the mute. I actually disappeared off of the screen.
No problem, no problem. So please begin over and we'll start the time clock over.
Thank you so much. First
You're
of all,
welcome.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this virtual candidate forum in order for us as the candidates to introduce ourselves and to communicate what our individual platforms are. My name is Janet Goodson and I am running as an incumbent. I'm seeking a 2nd term on City Council. And I just want to give you a little background. Prior to coming to Oroville from Sacramento in 2009, I worked for the Department of Justice in the Peace Officer Standards and Training Unit. I was promoted to the Department of Corrections and subsequently the Board of Prison Terms. I came to visit a friend and I decided to stay because I could see such a huge disparity between the haves and the have-nots. And I believe that I could be instrumental in changing that dynamic and to be a voice of representation. As an incumbent, I have been part of a council that has balanced and operated within the city's budget. I'm committed to striving for and providing an optimum level of public safety personnel and equipment with performance, and I am looking for a minimization of the response to the emergency situations that we have on a daily basis here. It's no secret that all of Butte County is experiencing a housing shortage, and it's due to a myriad of reasons. But I will continue to advocate for housing opportunities for seniors as well as middle income, low income residents, and veterans. I am also very supportive and will continue to support solutions to address the challenges of the homeless in our community with a focus on supportive housing. Currently, just to let you know, I am a commissioner on the Juvenile Justice and Detention Board, the acting president of the NAACP, and
Your time is up. Thank you very much.
I did not see that. Thank you so very much.
No problem. Ms. Riggs, you are next.
Thank you and good evening. Thank you all in the public for joining us tonight and for the League of Women Voters for setting this up. I'm Christy Riggs. I grew up in Oroville, and very early on, I chose to invest my time, skills, and honestly, my life to this community. I've served for 9 years as the executive director of the Axiom, a nonprofit youth center working with at-risk teens. I'm the chairperson of the City of Oroville Parks Commission, the treasurer of the Downtown Oroville Small Business Association, and a sworn member of our Sheriff's Certified Emergency Response Team. I've also had the privilege in the past to work on the Butte County Grand Jury, providing oversight and evaluation for our local government, which has given me a really unique perspective into local government. My priorities, if elected, are to improve quality of life, support small businesses, and enhance our current community strengths and natural resources to help Oroville be the best place to raise a family, run a business, and call home. So I believe that our council is moving in the right direction. I hope that if elected, I can use my education, my experience, and my passion to add to the city's leadership team and provide the best possible future for our town.
Thank you. Mr. Flicker, you are next. I think you're on mute, Mr. Flicker. There you go.
I think I got it. First, I'd like to thank the Butte County League of Women Voters for arranging this forum and for hosting it. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think forums like this are an important part of the democratic process. It's important that we're informed voters. Secondly, I would like to thank the other candidates for being a part of this process and for being willing to serve. Lastly, I'd like to thank the citizens of our community for taking the time to become an informed voter. I'm fortunate that I'm both in a position to serve and I possess the skills and experience that will benefit my community. I've been a small business owner where I learned how difficult it can be to stay solvent and how to work within a budget. I spent 27 years with the Sheriff's Office in a management position in the last 17, where I gained experience and skills in managing a government budget and leadership training. I've served on the board of directors for several community organizations where I learned how to work with others to achieve the goals of the organization. I served on the board of my labor union where I learned how to negotiate within the budget of a government entity. I have an understanding of the issues that face us, and I look forward to working with the council and staff to develop a functional plan to address them. I'm asking for your support because I want to do all I can to make Oroville a safe place for our families and a thriving environment for our business. With all that's happened in our county in the last several years, we've shown that we care about our community and our citizens. We've proven that we can work together to achieve our goals. I thank you for participating in this process, and I know that we will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Torres, are you there? You're not on my screen. I hope you're out there. Ms.
She's away on mine too.
Ms. Torres? Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll continue on, and then when she comes back in, we'll let her give her opening. Or is everybody okay with that? I'm assuming so. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so our first question will go to Ms. Goodson. And the question is, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities in governing the city of Oroville?
That's a very good question. To limit it to 3. I believe that it is no secret that we have a huge housing shortage in Butte County, specifically in Oroville. We have significantly reduced what the state had originally identified approximately 4 years ago, 1,646 housing units that we lacked. I would like to state for the record that the current council, which I serve on, we have added 100 additional housing units for middle income, affordable, and senior and veterans housing. Let me bring to your attention that affordable housing, there is still a lack of. Currently, we have 34% of our population in Oroville that does live below the poverty level. We have homelessness. We continue to address that. We definitely do need to minimize the magnitude of that issue. And we are facing the challenges of COVID in addition to those restrictions that the state has placed on our businesses, on our schools. We need to watch our budget very, very carefully during these times.
Thank you. Ms. Riggs, you are next.
Thank you. So as I mentioned in my opening statement, my priorities are to support small business. That means supporting our businesses through the transitions with COVID and other crises that our county is so familiar with. Improving quality of life, to me, that means supporting our police department, improving our roads, and developing and maintaining our local parks. And then my last one is supporting and creating access to our natural resources, meaning that we need to be able to really take advantage and market our natural resources in order to attract new residents and visitors alike.
Thank you. Mr. Flicker? There you go.
So my top 3 priorities are all kind of tied in together, but I look at it more as a immediate focus. And I think the immediate things I want to do is protect our citizens from the unhoused population. I think it's risen to a level that it's dangerous, and it's one of the city's priorities is to make this a safe place. And I serve on the Citizens Oversight Committee. They've made that a point that that's one of our top things to deal with is safety in our community. I think that's a large problem we can address right away. The second priority would be to fill our vacant staffing positions. With all that extra money we got with the 1% sales tax, we authorized lots of extra positions. I met with the heads of departments in the city last week, and we still have 4 of 5 code enforcement officers positions vacant. I want to make that a priority. And then I want to improve our fiscal solvency. Important to me that we pay down our unfunded liability with PERS. I know they're taking some steps to do that, but I would make that a focus to get that down so the city is solvent if another crisis arrives. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Torres, welcome back. Sorry we lost you.
I apologize, but I do have a backup computer just in case it happens again.
Good plan. No need to apologize. No need to apologize. Would you like to give us your 2-minute opening statement, please?
Of course, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and thank you again for hosting this Zoom meeting and, staying consistent with, what we have to do. Thank you for the League of Women's Voters. My name is Lisa Torres and I am currently running for Oroville City Council. I have lived in Oroville for 23 years. I'm a mother, a wife, and a grandmother. I currently am the morning lead cook at Oroville Hospital. I attended Butte College where I earned my social and behavioral sciences degree. I not only love my community, but I want to be a part of the change that's taking place in Oroville. And I feel that we need a diversity of opinion and not ethnicity. The community's concerns need to be heard. Also, I have children that live here and grandchildren, and I want just to be able to be a part of a place where they can grow up to not only appreciate the beauty of what Oroville has to offer, but also for them to have the opportunity that others in the community have as well. So I am running for Oroville City Council because I just want to see changes and I want to be a part of it. I don't want to just sit in the background anymore and just not do anything about it and just talk about it, but I just want to do what needs to be done in order to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. So Mr. Berry, we're going to go to you to continue our questions, and that would be the top 3 priorities if you're the successful candidate.
Yes, ma'am. First priority has been first in my past. That's public safety. There's a lot more things we could do to ensure public safety throughout the community in order to make the community prosper. Second would be to address all of the emergencies that have been going on. A lot of these things could have been minimized had action been taken several years ago. I provided direction before that would directly affect these emergencies that have arisen and prevented a lot of fatalities. Third, I would like to make sure we coordinate with the local businesses to ensure that they prosper and are able to serve the community, because if they prosper, the community is well served. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Torres, we're going to circle back to you for the first question. And the first question is, if elected, what are your top 3 priorities in governing the city of Oroville?
Well, if elected, of course, affordable housing and homelessness, I believe, goes hand in hand. We do have a homelessness problem, and that is something that needs to be addressed. I think that the help that they need can come from them being off the streets. Some are on the streets not because they want to, it's because they've lost their way. Having affordable housing offers that door open to where they can actually afford to be able to live in a home. Also for the newlyweds that want to be able to afford their own new home. Also the economy, I think, is very important. We need to start opening businesses up. We need to, that goes along with the pandemic. We need to comply and know that if we do what we have to do, we can open businesses and people can get their jobs back. And like Barry said, we need to have our community bring businesses back, because if they prosper, we prosper, and we need to have that money coming in.
Okay, thank you. Our next question does have to do with housing. Many of you have touched on it. The population density of Oroville is 4 times the average of the state of California. So this question concerns housing from a planning perspective, and what should Oroville be doing about housing as a plan? And Ms. Riggs, we'll be starting with you.
Great. Thank you. I am fortunate enough that I was able to be a recipient of the First-Time Homebuyers Program. I think that uplifting programs such as First-Time Homebuyers or other programs that allow for lower income individuals to really take ownership of homes is very valuable. I also believe that we have a number of underdeveloped areas that can and should be developed in order to accommodate low income, middle income, and upper income housing. I understand that we have a lack of housing in all of those tiers. And in order to have a healthy community with a diverse population and diverse economy, we need all layers of housing availability. So I'd like to see additional housing for low income populations, middle income populations, and upper income populations in order to ensure diversity for our economy. I also believe that we do need to support programs that help move homelessness into a home and into recovery. And that's something that I would be interested in pursuing as council.
Thank you. Mr. Flicker, you're next.
Could you repeat the question just so I'm clear on it?
Absolutely. The population density of Oroville is 4 times the California average. What do you think Oroville should be doing about housing from in a planning perspective? I mean, not tomorrow, but long-range planning.
I think we've started on a lot of those things. As Ms. Goodson said, we've got 2 veterans housing projects scheduled to come into Oroville. We've got a low-income housing unit coming in on Table Mountain and Nelson Avenue area. I think partly due to the pandemic, we've had a huge increase in construction to meet the needs of housing. All those houses being built out on the west side of town are a dramatic improvement. I think one area that we're seriously lacking to attract businesses into this town is the upper echelon, if you will, upper market houses to attract business owners and professionals to the hospital, those type of executive housing. I would really like to see some available housing, and I think the city should apply for more grants to do the first-time homebuyer program. I've known lots of people that have been assisted through that program. It's very beneficial.
Thank you. Ms. Torres?
Yes, you know, between all the fires that have been happening in the last couple of years with Paradise, and yes, we have definitely increased in population, and it has become a problem. We've pretty much congested, you know, and there's plenty of land that's out there that is unaccounted for. There's land that's just sitting there. You know, maybe if we can just look up to see who the land belongs to. Most of the time, the people are not even living anymore. It's just been passed down. It's just been let go. You know, we need to make sure that we can, you know, probably get a hold of the owners of those lands, and probably, you know, just buy the land and start building, because we do need not only houses for, you know, higher up, but we do need people to get their foot in the door to be able to start somewhere, so like that they can have affordable housing to move into a higher market price. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Berry?
Yes. I've spoken to a number of developers in the past, and most of the developers who are able to construct large tracts of housing find that the system that Oroville uses is not very conducive to moving them along in their endeavor. There needs to be a meeting or learning curve for the planners and the people that would set up the building arrangement with the developers, so that they're able to come in, obtain the land, and then start building what I would consider a median income housing. And later on, once they are more successful.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. I'm gonna stop you. Okay, Ms. Goodson?
And yes, I was on the housing committee as well, and I was instrumental in providing quite a number of those first-time buyer homes That was one of the reasons why I ran in 2016 to be an advocate for that. For affordable housing, period, middle income, low income, affordable, supportive housing for the homeless and those that are challenged in that 34% that live below poverty level has always been my priority. We have significantly reduced the housing units. We have 2 subdivisions that we've already done. We have already approved 300 additional units. A supportive unit has gone up on Fog Avenue. And I just want to say for the record that we are revisiting Jamboree housing. We would like to see that in one of our communities as a Jamboree housing that would support a walkable community. So we are moving.
Thank you.
Forward.
Ms. Goodson. Okay, our third question, Mr. Flicker, you will be the first person to answer. And the question is, as a member of the City Council, you have been put into office to represent the citizens of Oroville. How do you intend to reach out to your citizens and hear what they want and what they have to say? Mr. Flicker?
I've given that some thought, and I really think accessibility is important in the City Council. Sometimes we get stuck in our own little routines and circle of friends or acquaintances. I would like to see, and I will if elected, put up a booth at like Feather Fiesta Days, the Salmon Festival, just to meet and greet the public. I would encourage my fellow council members to do the same thing. Maybe we could schedule it so we still get to participate and don't have to sit there the whole day. But I think it's important to be out in front of the public and give them unexpected access to us. They have phone numbers, they have emails, but just sitting down talking to people, you find out a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily find out, or possible solutions to problems that you haven't even considered. So I think that's an important part of it. I think having a public comment section, I'm sure we do. I'm not aware of it, I haven't used it, but I think putting yourself out there and being accessible is the most important part of that.
Thank you. Ms. Torres? Oh, I think you're on mute. There you go.
Yes. So being accessible to the community is very important. It just doesn't stop, when you're elected, it doesn't stop right there. You don't sit there and go out to the community and ask for their votes and then the communication just stop. I think it should just go forward and even stronger. I think accessibility is very important. I think that's a great idea, Brian, going out there, making yourself available, being out there, being in the public, being out there at whatever events there is, and to hear people's concerns and to actually listen, and one of the things that you have to do is not only just hear what the people have to say, but address their concerns and let them know that you are listening, and let them know that you do care, and going out there and giving them your number and stopping and just talking to people and lets them know, and it gives them that comfort that their concerns are being heard and that they are being noticed. So the community, they feel that they are very important, because the community is important. This is what we want. This is what we are working for. And if I'm elected, I do so.
Thank you. Mr. Berry?
Yes, ma'am. As in the past, everybody should have my phone number in the community, because I've been contacted constantly by a great number of people. I've gotten a lot of good ideas from them. They want to talk, but they don't like to talk in public. It's more of a one-on-one thing with them. You'll find that large gatherings or whatever cause a lot of people to shy away from that. So one-on-one contact has always been a priority of mine, and as people know, that I've always talked to people. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Goodson, you're next.
Yes, thank you so much. That's a great question. And I work in and have for many years in different arenas, whether it be business or political. what I have found is I have a team approach. It is a roundtable approach. You must be a good listener, a reflective listener, learning how to respect and validate everyone's concerns, their issues, questions, and different perspectives. Not only is the team approach important, but constituents want you to explain why you voted the way you voted. And you need to develop the skill where you echo what the other person is saying to ensure that you have an accurate understanding of what the constituent, of what your colleagues, of what your city staff's points of view are. I encourage people to reach out to me via city email when they see me on the street, personal email, phone. People know where I live, off of Bell Noble, the White House with the red door. I have an open door policy.
Thank you. Miss Riggs.
Thank you. So I think one of the primary ways to really stay in open communication with our community members is to remain engaged in the daily lives and operations of our community. So as you know, I stated earlier, I'm a member of the Downtown Orrville Business Association. In that, I'm part of the events team. I'm also a member of the Optimist Club and other community organizations throughout Orrville. And I believe that being able to remain engaged in those allows for an open door and easy communication with me as a council member. I also think it's important to use all forms of media in order to communicate and address the concerns of our public. So I am an advocate for social media. I'm willing to text people when they would prefer texting. I want to communicate in the way that's best suited for the individual. And lastly, I think it's most important that we listen first, that we build our time around hearing their concerns, not just sharing our opinions.
Okay, thank you. Our fourth question, we'll start with Ms. Torres. And the question is, what 2 or 3 actions should be taken to get Orrville on a firmer financial footing over the next 12 to 16 months? Ms. Torres? I think you're on mute. Yep.
I think one of the things that we need to do is we need to lower our numbers down as far as the COVID that's going on. We need to open up businesses. We need to progress. We need people to come in. We need businesses to not only open. People have lost their jobs. People have lost their businesses. They've had to close because of COVID. So if we move on to the next tier and the numbers are lowered, then we can open up as far as opening up, but also with precautions in place. And that'll allow the economy to start growing again. And that'll bring people back to Orrville. We need to start beautifying our community. We need to start working on other areas that have kind of lacked off because of other things that have been going on, as far as the beauty and the restorations that are needed to be going on. So I think if we start focusing on different things, then we can progress in the next 12 to 16 months, and we can grow and we can see the different steps, what we've overcome.
Thank you. Mr. Berry.
I've been thinking a lot about that, and a lot of it deals with our business community. They've been underrepresented for a long time. I brought forth several ideas that would bring them more or less together and out front where everybody could see them. However, nobody has shared those ideas with me in the past. Those would be my priorities in the next 12 months or so, to get something together that would bring the business community together and put it out front where everybody has access to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Goodson?
Yes, good question. We know that there's 2 ways to increase the bottom line in any city. That's economic development expansion and sales tax. We've already been through that. 4 years ago, we were challenged with a deficit of $1.8 million we now boast a reserve of 6 million in our coffers. But what we need to do, because of the challenges of COVID, we need to undergird our local businesses. The one thing I have learned, when you have nonprofit organizations, you must have the support of the local businesses, and they cannot lose their voice. And in regards to the economic expansion, we're proud to say that in the past couple of years, we do have Oroville Hospital, which is going to, the expansion is going to bring in approximately 800 jobs. That is huge. But I believe what we also need, in order to attract outside investors, we need to bring in sustainable living wage jobs, which will provide and of course increase our need for housing. And we also need a
Thank
skilled
you.
labor
Thank
force.
you. Ms. Riggs.
Thank you. I'm actually pursuing my master's in public administration, and public financial management is one of the courses that we just wrapped up. And we looked at that specifically in terms of solvency related to COVID-19. So I think for our community, we need to diversify our funding streams, ensure that we are receiving adequate amount of funding locally through sales tax, property tax, but also through grants and business-like activities. We also need to create a downtown or a business profile for our entire community. So we need to inventory what businesses we have, what industries we're lacking, and build a plan in order to recruit those sorts of industries. And then finally, I believe that although we've moved in the right direction, our budget as a city is growing healthier, we need to remain financially conservative while investing in our infrastructure, our sewer treatment plant, and the beautification and business community within our town.
Thank you. Mr. Flicker.
As I talked about in my opening statement, I think an important part of what we're going to do is to make our city more attractive to businesses. As Janet said, we need that tax base to do it. So we need to support the people who have been harmed by the pandemic and by the fires and the closures. So we need to do what we can to support those people and waive, I don't want to say laws, but make it easier for them to operate under the conditions that we impose are imposed on us by the state. And we need to fight against the state when those impositions are unfair to our community. I think if we made our city more attractive, dealt with our housing issues, dealt with making our parks better, dealt with looking at the, I drove through the industrial area. Some of those are very attractive and would attract other businesses. Some of them are very unattractive and would not. So I think that we need to encourage business and protect what we have.
Thank you so much. Okay, for our final question, we thought we would leave on a positive note before you do your closing statements. And that is, what do you like best and value most about living in Oroville? You're all very passionate about your town, so tell those voters why you care. And we'll start with Mr. Berry.
Well, it hasn't been a secret of mine that I relish the safety and the ability to do things in this city that everybody wants to do. Shop, take advantage of the recreation, move around, just do what you want to do within the law. And that's been why I just haven't been able to leave here in over 70 years. What short time I've left, I've came right back. But anyway, those are the fundamental things, is the domestic accessibility to everything because of the safety and just general easiness on a person and their family. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Goodson.
Yes. You asked that question, and I had to reflect when I first came to Oroville from a very large city, Sacramento. But one of the main reasons why I stayed was because I fell in love with the natural assets, with the waterways, with the flora and the fauna. I fell in love with the easy sway of the people. This is a city where within a week, everybody pretty much knows your name, or they know that you have come and they express an interest in who you are. And your voice does make a difference here as well. I have enjoyed the partnerships, the relationships that I have developed. This is a place where, and I used to be a flight attendant. I flew for Planet, but there is no place like home, and home is right here.
Thank you. Ms. Riggs?
Thank you. I'm going to echo some of the statements that Janet and Jack made. I love our historic small town. I think it's one of the unique assets of our community. And it's so easy to get lost in the hustle and in the busyness of a big city. But in Oroville, it is comforting. We are warm, we're polite, and we are connected. So one of the things I love most about our community is our community members. This group of community members and residents they respond to problems, they're active and they're engaged, and they support each other in a way that I think is hard to come by. I also love our natural resources, the outdoor lifestyle, the fact that you could be in a rural forest in an hour, or you could be in a major city in an hour. We're uniquely positioned, and that just gives you the best of both worlds.
Mr. Flicker?
I think most what I like about Oroville is its home. I was born and raised here. My kids are here. My grandkids are here. And I'm actively involved in the community. It's interesting, since I retired 6 or 7 years ago now, I've got involved in volunteering and giving back to my community. And I've just been totally amazed and impressed with how we all work together to solve a problem. And in starting my campaign, I've been walking neighborhoods, talking to people, introducing myself, and it's amazing how we're all tied together. I can't go to 2 houses without finding someone who went to school with my kids, someone who knows someone I worked with, someone who's a friend of mine. It's amazing how we're all related. I think that's something you don't get in a large town. I love our resources. I've hunted and fished. I golf. I just love the resources that are available here, and I love small town America, and Oroville offers all of that.
Okay, Ms. Torres.
Yes, Oroville is unique. When I first moved here, I was returning a U-Haul, and I said, I'm in Oroville. They said, well, where's that at? It's not even on the map. So, Oroville's, I love Oroville since I've been here. I think it's a great foundation to raise your kids. I have grandkids here. They love it. The beauty of Oroville, the people, you can't, it's like, like Brian said, it's small. I work with people right now that went to school with my kids when they were younger. It's a small community, and you can't get that anywhere else. You can't get that Southern Belle type community that we have, the love and the comfort. We all come together when we have a crisis. We all help one another. I am fortunate to volunteer for even Hope on Wheels, and we go out there and help homeless people, and it's rewarding. And you can't find that everywhere else because everybody just gets so lost in the shuffle. So I love Oroville. It's a great community to raise your kids and your grandkids.
Okay, thank you. We're ready for closing statements. 2 minutes, and Mr. Flicker, you're up.
Thank you. I'm very appreciative of the opportunity that the League of Women Voters has offered to us by hosting this event, so thank you. I hope we've
Our pleasure.
I hope we've all profited from the experience. I believe that we've shown that we all have the same goal. We may have different focuses, and we definitely have a variety of skills and experiences that will affect how effective we are as city council persons. The mission of the city of Oroville says it's dedicated to serving the public, ensuring the safety and vitality of the community. The vision says the city of Oroville will be a vibrant, thriving community with strong economic, recreational, and cultural opportunities where you can live, work, and play all in a day. I think that's possible to achieve. I believe that throughout my life, I've gained experiences and skills that will serve to increase my ability to achieve our objectives. I've been very active in serving our community since my retirement. I've found that there are a lot of very dedicated people working hard to improve the quality of life for our citizens. I believe it is all of our responsibility to make Oroville a safe, thriving environment for our families and our businesses. Please find a way to get involved in actively making our vision a reality. Thank you for your involvement in our democracy. Good night and stay strong.
Thank you. Ms. Riggs?
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, I have my bachelor's degree in health and community service. I'm working on my master's in public administration. Those two things are two assets that I believe I'll be able to bring to the city council, provide education in a different framework and perspective in order to really make the best choices for our community. In addition to that, I have a natural strategic mindset. That's the way my brain works. I think in strategy, and I believe that we need to build our infrastructure, streamline and really set a foundation in order to create success and development for this community. It's my promise to you guys that as a council member, I'll work tirelessly to improve our community, streamline the business development, support economic growth, and help us embrace the positive parts of our community, to which there are so many. In my previous leadership roles, one thing really stands out, and that's our dedicated community members who work really hard to make Oroville a great place to call home. Our community is engaged, we work hard, and we want what's best for our neighborhoods, businesses, and families. That kind of commitment and passion is what I'm dedicated to reflect as a representative on City Council. And if you want to know more about me, you're welcome to visit my website at electriggs.com.
Thank you. Ms. Goodson?
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I do bring experience and commitment. My first term in office did not come without its challenges. The city was on the verge of bankruptcy, faced with a $1.8 million deficit, in addition to the Oroville spillway break. Year 3 was the Camp Fire, and of course we're facing COVID and the Bear Fire. We have, and not just as a council, but we have been able to overcome so many of these challenges. I did want to share that currently I am a commissioner on the Juvenile Justice and Detention Board. In regards to my experience, I am the acting president of the NAACP Butte County chapter. I represent the city with the League of California Cities, and I also am the co-chair of the Groundwater Sustainability Board. In addition to, I do have a full-time job. I am employed as a behavioral health counselor at a nonprofit organization that deals with and helps challenged youth in adoption, probation, and children's services. So I believe that I have a wealth of knowledge, of experience to bring to the table in regards to some of our challenges relative to housing and homeless, and how to advocate and support not just our local businesses, but the infrastructure, and bringing in and attracting new investors, and in dealing with a change and revamping. We cannot set educational policy, but we do have the ability to influence. In addition, I believe that the council must reflect diversity in our city on the dais. We must reflect diversity, not just ethnicity, but in perspectives as well. I am asking the voters to vote for me, and so that we can continue to build a safe, prosperous city.
Thank you. Mr. Berry? Thank you. Mr. Berry?
Yes. I've served on the council for a number of years, over 10 years. found how difficult it is. By maintaining my composure and my willingness to work with people, even though they didn't want to work with me, has been a big challenge, but think I've done admirably in my attempts. One thing that I have to mention, though, Ms. Goodson has been a real trooper during the last 4 years, and she's taken a lot of shots, and undeserved, of course. And I applaud her for even sticking in there and wanting to run again. I really believe that she's doing a really good job. But I've maintained that my decisions have always been for the majority of the citizens of Warville. I've worked hard to try to separate myself from any one affiliation with anybody that would, sway my opinion on anything. I try to keep my opinions very objective and try to look forward that it will benefit the city most of all. And that's basically where I'm at. And I appreciate the League of Women Voters for doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Torres.
I do appreciate the League of Women's Voters for giving this opportunity to present our platform and to give us the opportunity for us to show ourselves. Like everybody says, we all are here for a purpose, and that is to create, a better community. With this community is so well worthwhile of keeping together. The love for this community is so great right now on the screen. And it's just an awesome feeling to know that we are out here putting ourselves out here to be able to speak for our community. I want to work for the community, and I know the value of dedication, responsibility, hard work. As in my current position, time management is a must. As a parent and as a grandmother, you have to learn how to listen to different voices. Everybody's not the same. Everybody is unique. They all have their own needs. They all have their own way of communication. And once you can see that, and you can adjust to that, you have to be adjustable. You have to know that you have to adjust yourself to the person that you're communicating with. And you can't wear your emotions on your sleeves. You have to separate yourself, like Jack says. In order to work with others, you may not agree on everything, but there has to be a medium to where you can agree to something that'll benefit the community, because that is why we are running for city council. I am running for city council because I want to be able to benefit the community. And if I pray that I am voted as a city council member for Oroville, and I will show my dedication and time and make myself available at all times. And people who know me know that I will put myself out there and I will communicate to the best of my ability. And I may not have the background that everybody has, but I have the love and the compassion for the community at hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes the formal part of our presentation. And on behalf of the League of Women Voters, I would like to thank our terrific panel, really a great panel. And once again, we're very happy to reach out to Oroville and help you in any way that we can. Our parting shot is that there is votersedge.org, which is a complete California voter guide. If you have any questions, there are a mere 35 days left to election. And my final word is please vote.